There's a term called shradda, or shradda, in the Bhagavad Gita. It's the Indian spiritual text. And it's the whole text is a conversation between Krishna, who's essentially God, and Arjuna, who's a human who's essentially about to fight a war. And Krishna is giving him spiritual advice. And Krishna says that with shradda, that's a person's deepest personal self. And whatever the content of that is, they will be married to it. They will receive the result. If they pursue it with devotion and with duty, Krishna in this context will give them the result. Krishna can be seen as God. It can be seen as the self internally, the larger self. It could be seen as consciousness, a manifestation, whatever it may be, right? The point is that when somebody has a life purpose or a life mission, something that's deep and true to them, the type of thing that they can't deny, the type of thing that they must move towards irresistibly, that's their shradda. And when they do it fully and with conviction, and probably only then do they get the result. And that's the only way to actually do something that's of any difficulty or of any worthwhileness. There needs to be a true internal desire in order to go through all the struggle necessary to succeed in something. Because success is not something that comes easily. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of pain, a lot of time that goes into it. If you're going to be a pro athlete, or if you're going to be a musician, or if you're going to be a professional person of some sort, if you're going to create anything, there are forces that are going to work against you in a sense, and then you need to become strong and move beyond those, and it's not easy. But when you do, in a paradoxical sense, the forces that worked against you paradoxically ended up with being things that worked for you because they made you stronger, right? So when you have that personal desire, that essentially should be what you spend your life on as best as you can. That's the only way to truly live in a fulfilled way, to honor the things that are deepest within you and then act in accordance with them. And the place where those things come from it's from beyond. It's from a divine alignment with the universe. But within regular society, you're generally not going to be. They tell you to follow your passions, follow your dreams. That's good. But generally speaking, the content of what people do is generally more functional and mundane within their jobs and their regular life. And what I have to say with regard to that is, do what you can. Do what you can to honor who and what you are. Djokovic won the Wimbledon in 2014, and he beat Federer in the final. Federer was 7-time champ Wimbledon, right? He pretty much never lost. He only lost one final, right? And Djokovic was up in the fourth set, 5-2, and Fed came back. He won 5 games, or he won the fourth set. They played a fifth, and Fed was pretty much playing better in the fifth also. But then he just slipped up a little bit, and then Djokovic won. And he was so happy, and he said, "Tennis is my destiny. I was born to do this." And he had so much motivation from the time he was a child. He was when he was like 7, I think there was some interview being like, "I want to be world number 1." And then he used to make little Wimbledon trophies out of paper or something, and he believed in this so much. That was his shradda. And he carried it forward. He had a lot of gall. When in 2006 he played Nadal at the French, and he was beaten. And then in the interview after the match, he's like, he was like a kid. He was like 18 or 19. He's like, "I think I was in control for the first part of the match." And then John McEnroe was like, "What is he talking about?" No, he's not. He wasn't. But he thought he was. So he was a little bit delusional in that sense, right? But the point is that he believed it. He believed in himself very heavily. And at this point, he has a winning record on Nadal. He's beaten Nadal at the French 9 years later. He's beaten Fed at Wimbledon. Those are their king tournaments. He has a winning record on Fed also. How? He's not as talented as either of them. How? How does this happen? Well, he's spiritual, for one. He meditates. He does yoga. He doesn't believe in the material world as materialistically as a lot of people do. But beyond that, it's his deep belief. When you play a final set against Fed, he's won like 6. I don't think Federer's ever won a final set against him. He might have. He's never won a 5th set against him. Why? Federer's a better player overall. Why does he lose to Djokovic so much? Because Djokovic believes more. That's it. It's not the strokes. It's not anything. He believes it more. He truly believes it. And if you have a true belief, often means that you've abandoned your egoic disbeliefs. Because the ego is full of disbelief. The world is hostile, it's bad, I'm going to die, this is going to happen, that's not going to work. And you just focus on that all the time, right? And Fed, who's presumably not as spiritual as Djokovic, he just has a champion mentality. Psychologically, he's very strong and everything, right? But when it comes to it, when you're really up against the wall, Djokovic can throw himself away. He can eliminate himself and then just perform. Fed, on the other hand, gets scared because his champion mentality is threatened when he's up against someone like Djokovic. So he'll get fearful, he'll play tight, he'll lose. Djokovic, on the other hand, he plays better from behind, and he plays some of his best shots on match points, meaning when the other person has a shot to win. If he loses that point, yeah, he'll play risky points on that. He's beaten Fed like that several times. That's the power of shradda. So, how do you know what your shradda is? Well, you feel it. You know it. Inside, you know it. Deep inside, beyond all the fear. Meditate. Feel it. See what it is, and then act in accordance with that. And it can change over time. It often does. At least the way in which you do it does change as you evolve and dynamicize and so forth. But when you live in alignment and in accordance with that, so much of the mental and psychological and spiritual tension that you have within your own internal sphere goes away, because you're one with what you're doing. You're one with life. You're here fulfilling your deepest purpose. And it's possible that your shradda is the number one thing that can help you in terms of development of consciousness as well, because you're doing something that relates with you so deeply that you feel a connectivity with the world and with the universe that you would be very difficult to feel otherwise.